In the spring of 1789, the King of France did something no Bourbon monarch had done in 175 years. He called his subjects to speak. 1,200 deputies traveled to Versailles, clergymen in crimson, nobles in plumed hats and gold embroidery, commoners in plain black suits, all summoned by a crown that needed their help. What happened next was not an explosion. It was an unlocking. This meeting did not destroy the monarchy in a single day, but it created a new political arena. And within that arena, the crown began to lose the initiative, and eventually, its throne. To understand why Louis XVI reached for this ancient instrument, you must understand the arithmetic of collapse. France was bankrupt. The American War of Independence had cost over $1 billion livres, pushing the royal debt to catastrophic levels. Servicing the debt alone devoured half the state's income. Yet the nobility and clergy, the richest orders, paid almost no direct taxes. The burden fell crushingly on the peasantry and the urban poor. Successive finance ministers understood the solution, some form of universal taxation. But understanding a cure and administering it were very different things in 18th century France. The king did not arrive at the Estates General by choice. He arrived there by elimination. In 1787, his finance minister Charles Alexandre de Calonne proposed sweeping reforms: a uniform land tax, the abolition of internal trade barriers. Knowing the parlements would block him, Calonne bypassed them entirely, presenting his plan to a hand-picked assembly of notables. He miscalculated. The notables, 144 nobles, clergy, and magistrates, did not simply reject the proposals. They claimed they lacked the authority to approve them at all. Only the Estates General, they insisted, could consent to such reforms. Calonne fell. His successor, Archbishop Brienne, tried to force the measures through the parliaments and failed. The parliaments declared his edicts illegal and demanded the Estates General themselves. By the summer of 1788, Brienne too was gone. The treasury was suspended in default, and the crown had run out of doors. Only one remained, and it had been shut since 1614. In January 1789, the royal edict went out. The Estates General would convene at Versailles in May. The language was gracious. The king spoke of needing the concourse of our faithful subjects. But the truth was starker. Louis had been cornered into resurrecting an institution no one alive remembered. Worse, the mechanism was already slipping from his grasp before a single deputy arrived. The parliaments immediately tried to constrain it, ruling the Estates General must follow the forms of 1614. Meaning the three estates would meet separately and vote by order, giving clergy and nobility a permanent 2-to-1 advantage over the third estate. This sparked a furious pamphlet war. Abbé Sieyès asked the question that would echo through the year. What is the third estate? Everything. What has it been? Nothing. What does it demand? To become something. Before the hall doors even opened, the crown's process had become a national argument about the nature of sovereignty itself. May the 5th, 1789, Versailles. 1,200 deputies gathered in the Salle des Menus Placers, a vast hall built for royal entertainments, now repurposed for something the kingdom had not witnessed in 6 generations. The king spoke first, brief, nervous, pleading for fiscal order. Necker, the recalled finance minister, followed with 3 hours of accounting. Not a word was spoken about voting procedure. Not a word about the question that would consume the assembly within days. This was the moment. Not a dramatic confrontation, but a silence, an absence. The crown, having opened the arena, had no plan for what would happen inside it. Louis had summoned the estates to solve a balance sheet crisis. But the men who filled that hall carried with them grievances far older and far larger than the deficit. The king believed he was convening a consultative body that would authorize taxes and disperse. He was, in fact, lighting a fuse whose length he could not measure. The fuse burned for 6 weeks. The Third Estate, representing 96% of the nation but holding only one vote, refused to meet separately. They invited the other orders to join them. The nobility refused. The clergy hesitated. The paralysis was absolute. On June 17th, the Third Estate broke the deadlock by declaring itself the National Assembly, the legitimate representative of the French people. 3 days later, locked out of their hall on royal orders, they crowded into an indoor tennis court and swore never to disband until France had a constitution. Even here, the monarchy still had room to maneuver. Louis could have embraced the assembly, negotiated terms. Instead, he wavered, first conciliatory, then ordering 30,000 troops toward Paris, then dismissing Necker, the one minister the Third Estate trusted. The message was unmistakable. The king was preparing to impose his will by force. Paris answered. On July 14th, the Bastille fell, not as the opening act of revolution, but as the closing act of royal misjudgments that transformed a procedural dispute into an irreparable rupture. There is a particular danger in opening a door you cannot close. The Estates General was not devised as a revolutionary instrument. It was a medieval consultative body, a tool of royal management, resurrected in desperation. But once summoned, it became a stage. On that stage, arguments developed their own momentum. Men who entered as petitioners emerged as legislators. Procedures hardened into principles, principles into identities, identities into irreconcilable camps. The Crown, which had opened the proceedings believing it controlled the script, found itself watching a play it no longer directed. This is the quiet lesson of 1789, and it does not belong only to kings. An institution created to channel consent can, under pressure, become the arena where authority itself is redefined and surrendered. Thank you for watching.